After her father Anthony loses his temper with his most recent caretaker, and pays a visit to her father at his apartment. Anthony suffers from dementia, which causes him to frequently forget significant life events as well as the locations of everything in and around his apartment, including his watch, despite the fact that he always puts it back in the same spot. He informs Anne that he is never going to leave his apartment and that he believes his watch was stolen by his most recent caretaker. Anthony is perplexed when Anne reveals to him that she intends to leave London and relocate to Paris to be with her new partner. Anthony is under the impression that Anne is already married to James, and then walks away after informing him that they have been divorced for 5 years. The following day, Anthony encounters a stranger named Paul, played by Mark Gatiss, and is perplexed by the fact that he lives in his flat. Paul claims that Anthony resides in the same house as he and Anne. When Anne gets back from the market with the chicken for dinner, she seems to be a completely different lady. This leaves Anthony feeling completely perplexed and frustrated, and arranges for a new caretaker named Laura to interview Anthony at his home. During this interview, Anthony asserts that he was a professional dancer and that he does not require any assistance with his daily living. Later on, after she has been hired, Anthony remarks that she reminds him of his other daughter Lucy, whom he hasn't spoken to for several months for reasons that Anthony is ignorant of, and takes Anthony to the doctor and asks him about his memory. When questioned about it, Anthony insists that he does not have any memory issues. Anthony shares with Laura how incredibly proud he is of his daughter Lucy, a painter in her own right. Anthony responds by stating that he is unclear of what she is referring to when she tells him that she is extremely sorry about Lucy's accident. Laura tells him that she is very sorry about Lucy's accident. After she has finished giving him his medication, Laura changes the subject and moves on. Throughout the course of the movie, it becomes clear that Anthony has in fact spent the past many years residing in Anne and Paul's apartment, despite the fact that he is under the impression that he still resides in his own private apartment. The evening that Anne returns home with the chicken from the market, she and Paul get into an argument about a vacation to Italy that they had to cancel in order to deal with the fallout of Anthony's earlier hostile behavior to the caretaker, and about how much Anne sacrifices for her father, and brings up the fact that Paul doesn't appreciate how much she does for her father. Anthony is smacked by Paul, who this time is portrayed by Mark Gatiss, to the point where he starts crying when Paul asks him how long he plans to stay in their flat and annoy everyone. Anthony awakens in his room and walks out of the apartment, only to discover that he is in the hallway of a hospital. He is reminded that his daughter Lucy, played by Imogen Poots, passed away at the hospital after being involved in a vehicle accident. He wakes up in a completely different bedroom, this time in a nursing home, after having witnessed her bloated and bloodied body in the hospital room. Catherine, his nurse, who is played by Olivia Williams, checks in on him and tells him that Anne has relocated to Paris with Paul and that she visits on the weekends occasionally. During the course of their encounter, they are visited by a second nurse by the name of Bill. Anthony has a mental collapse as a result of his inability to comprehend the world anymore and Anne's departure. During this time, Anthony expresses his desire to be reunited with his mother and declares that he is losing his leaves. As he sobs, Catherine is there to console him and reassures him that she will take him to the park later on in the day. The final scene of the movie is a close-up of several leaves on a tree. I hope you enjoyed our video, and if you did, please consider subscribing to our channel.